After my wife gave me an STD, she demanded the divorce and the house. Her daughter laughed. He can't even afford a lawyer to fight Mom. I just smiled and said, you're right. So when they served me in court, they had no clue what was coming. Hello Reddit I plus here. Never thought I'd be the guy posting one of these stories, but after everything that happened, I think I need to say it. If not for advice, then just to breathe a little easier. This is long, but I promise every detail matters. I'm 41. My wife, Melissa, is 38. We were married for 8 years. She had a daughter from a previous relationship, Jenna. When I met them, Jenna was 13 and had already been through a lot with her absentee father. I took it slow, tried to earn her trust. She didn't make it easy, but I stuck around. Raised her like she was mine. I thought we were building something, a life, a family. Turns out, I was building a house on quicksand. About a year ago, I started having symptoms. Fatigue, fever, pain, and then the unmistakable rash. I'll spare you the medical horror, but I went in for tests and walked out with a diagnosis I never expected. HSV-2. I was stunned. I'd never cheated on Melissa. I'd never even been tempted. I'm a project engineer. Long hours, a tight crew of co-workers, most of whom were already married or ancient. I went home every night to the same dinner table, same routines. I asked my doctor if there was any way this could be something else. He gently told me, this is sexually transmitted. The timeline tells me it's recent. When I confronted Melissa, she exploded, said I was sick in the head for accusing her, that I must have picked it up from a dirty gas station toilet, or something equally absurd. I was too stunned to argue. She kept crying and gaslighting me, turning every question into my fault somehow. For 2 weeks, I lived in limbo. I slept in the guest room, barely ate. I was ashamed, angry, mostly just confused. I wanted to believe her, until I couldn't. It was a Sunday morning. I had gotten up early to take the trash out. Melissa's phone was charging on the kitchen counter, and a message popped up from a name I didn't recognize. Derek. Jim. But the preview text said, last night was insane. I can still taste you. My hands went cold. I took the phone to the garage and opened it. She never thought I'd look. She never thought I could. But she'd used our anniversary date as her passcode. Real original. Inside were months of messages, photos, voice notes, plans to meet up at his place while I was on a work trip. She even joked, if he ever finds out, I'll just cry and blame stress. He always believes me. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I started collecting everything. Backed up her phone, screenshotted messages, pulled location data off our Google account, even found emails between her and her best friend where she admitted she'd known she was likely the one who gave me something, but said, he'll never prove it. And if he does, I'll just play dumb. He's too soft to do anything. Soft. Right. 3 days later, I was served with divorce papers. She filed. She wanted the house, the car I bought for her 2 years ago, and spousal support. Said I'd been emotionally distant and made her feel unappreciated. Jenna, now 21 and home for the summer, laughed when she overheard me on the phone with a legal clinic. He can't even afford a real lawyer, she said from the stairs. Mom's gonna eat him alive. I just looked at her. I didn't say a word, because she wasn't wrong about the money part, but she had no idea what I was already doing. I didn't argue. I didn't try to change Melissa's mind. I let her believe I was crumbling. Truth was, I'd already hired a lawyer, not flashy, not expensive, but smart. My friend from college had started a modest firm focused on high-conflict divorces. I told him everything, sent every file, every screenshot. He said, give me a week. We filed a counterpetition, and unlike hers, it had evidence of infidelity, deception, and malicious intent. The STD diagnosis, the text messages, the emails, the timestamps that lined up exactly with her lies. We also subpoenaed her phone records and bank statements. Turns out she'd been funneling money to a separate account, likely saving up to move in with Derek once the divorce wrapped. She didn't just cheat. She plotted my erasure. We went to court 3 months later. She showed up wearing pearls and grief, like she was at a funeral. Mine, I guess. Her lawyer did all the talking, painting her as the devoted wife who was neglected by a cold, emotionally unavailable husband. Melissa dabbed her eyes. Jenna sat behind her, smirking at me like I was pathetic. Then my attorney stood. He laid out everything. Calmly, clearly. He didn't even look at Melissa. Just showed the court receipts, messages, and the medical report linking the timeline of exposure. We even had a statement from her doctor confirming she'd been diagnosed 2 months before I was, but hadn't disclosed it. The judge asked if Melissa had anything to say, and then she finally cracked. She tried to spin it, said it was one mistake, and I didn't know how to tell him. I didn't want to hurt him. My lawyer calmly said the one mistake lasted 9 months, with one man, and involved knowingly exposing him to an incurable disease. Silence. The judge ruled immediately. She was denied all claims to the house. She was denied spousal support. She was ordered to reimburse me for medical expenses related to the STD. And, in the most satisfying twist, she was ordered to cover my legal fees in full. Jenna walked out ahead of her mother, didn't look at me once. After all that, Melissa tried to reach out after the ruling, not to apologize, not even close. She sent me a long email about how I'd embarrassed her and weaponized her worst mistake to destroy her life. She said she was living in a rented apartment. Derek had ghosted her, and Jenna had gone back to school and cut off contact. She blamed me for that too. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I kept the house, cleaned it top to bottom, took down all the pictures, gave away the furniture she picked, repainted the walls. Not because I needed a change of scenery, because I needed to breathe again. And I'm breathing now, slowly, quietly. I'm not seeing anyone. I'm not interested. I need time to remember who I was before all this. Before her, but I'll tell you this, there's peace in silence, there's power in patience, and sometimes the best revenge is just rebuilding without letting them back in. You see, after the divorce, I stayed single, still am. I threw myself into my work and my health, lost 15 pounds, took up trail hiking on weekends, read books I hadn't touched in years, spent quiet mornings with coffee on the back porch, the same one Melissa once begged me to renovate for her. I built it. She never used it. I've rebuilt my house into something that doesn't feel haunted anymore. New floors, new kitchen, new energy, and then, 2 weeks ago, I got a knock at my door. The visit. It was Jenna. She looked different, less polished, no smugness, no haughty glare, just tired, worn down. She was holding a manila envelope and a small duffel bag. "Hey," she said quietly, "can we talk?" I didn't move for a second, just stared at her. I thought about all the times she rolled her eyes while her mother lied, all the times she watched me beg for clarity and offered only silence. I stepped outside, closed the door behind me. "We can talk here," I said. She looked surprised but nodded, said things hadn't been easy. Melissa had moved 2 more times, each place smaller than the last. Jenna had dropped out of college temporarily, something about financial aid issues and mental health stuff. She'd tried living with her mom again over the summer. It lasted 6 days. They fought constantly. Melissa blamed me for everything. Still does. Even Derek, the guy she blew up our lives for, ended up filing a restraining order. "She's spiraling," Jenna said. "And I'm done being part of it." I stayed quiet, let her talk. Eventually, she got to the envelope. "I know I was cruel to you," she said, "and I know I chose sides, but I was a kid trying to survive a house full of lies. I guess I didn't realize I was becoming just like her." Inside the envelope was a letter, handwritten, apology mostly. She didn't justify her actions, which I appreciated. She didn't beg either, but she did ask, not for money, not for a place to stay, but for a conversation. She wanted to rebuild, even just slowly. "You were the only real father I ever had," she said, and I threw that away. My response. I told her the truth. "I loved you like my own, but you weren't a kid anymore when this happened. You made choices, not mistakes, decisions. You didn't just stand by and watch, you laughed, you enjoyed it." She looked down, nodded, didn't argue. "I forgive you," I added, "but that doesn't mean we pick up where we left off. Forgiveness isn't an invitation back into my life. It just means I'm no longer carrying the anger with me." Her eyes started to water, but she didn't cry. "Take care of yourself," I said, "and if you ever have a daughter of your own one day, remember what silence and cruelty feel like to someone who raised you." I walked back inside. I haven't heard from her since. Melissa's out of my life. Jenna's probably out of it too. I don't regret giving her 5 minutes of honesty, but I also don't regret not opening the door any wider. Sometimes people think sorry is a password to re-enter your life. But I've learned that not everyone deserves a second seat at your table just because they finally see the damage they caused. I found peace in my own company, in my own skin. That's more valuable than any apology.